Welcome to the Mound City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 12th. It's 6:02 and we're in Mound City Council chambers. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for coming out. We have our agenda. Do we have any amendments?
No amendments.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. And then we got the consent agenda. Does someone want to go through those items?
I can do that.
Okay.
Let's see. Wow, okay. Consent agenda, item A, approve payment of claims. B, approve minutes from the October 22nd regular meeting. C, approve gambling permit for American Legion Post 398. D, action approving resolution that approves a second amendment to the contract with Safe Built for inspection services. E, action approving ordinance amending Chapter 105 of Mound City Code regarding buildings and regulations to authorize electrical permitting and inspections by the state of Minnesota. F, action approving ordinance amending Chapter 101 of the City Code regarding general administrative provisions, amending the regulations for electrical fees to follow the state of Minnesota fee schedule. G, action approving resolution approving public lands permit and musical concert permit for 2024 tree lighting on November 23rd and waive fees. H, agreement for prosecution services with Campbell Knutson. I, pay request number 2 in the amount of $122,251.60 to Widmer Construction for project 24-03. J, pay request number 2 in the amount of $291,660.81 to New Look Contracting for Lost Lake Commons Phase 1, Project 2309. K, pay request number 2 and final in the amount of $1,092.11 to Goodmanson Construction for Project 24-11. L, pay request number 2 for $30,622.06 to Allied Blacktop for Project 2407. And M, pay request number 2 in the amount of $134,151.97 to create construction for Project 2408.
All right. We got all those. Does anybody want to talk about any of those? All right, hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'm sorry.
We got a motion. Can I get a second? All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Larson.
Aye.
Councilmember McEnany.
Aye.
Councilmember Pugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Castellano.
Aye.
Mayor Holt.
Aye. All right, thanks. All that passes. All right, next up, we got number 5, comments and suggestions from anybody that is present that their item is not on the agenda. If you want to come up and give us your name and address. Not hearing anybody. All right, we'll skip to the next one. Number 6, we got West Tonka student presentation.
Welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You guys can just go ahead if you want.
Great. So I'm Stella Miner, and I'm one of our Student Senate presidents this year.
And then I'm Mason Sabaski. I'm the other Student Senate President this year, and yeah, we'll be going over some of the stuff going on in the school district. So cool.
Yeah. So first, we're talking about activities. As you can see, we had our activities fair starting off the year this year, which was a great way for 8th graders and new students to see all the clubs we have at our high school this year. That was on October 7th, and yeah, it was a pretty successful event.
And then for Mount Osonka clubs and activities, basically all of them are the same as the past couple years, but this year we've added Unified Club, which is more of like an inclusion club for students with disabilities, and then gen ed students, as we feel there's been a gap there in previous years, as well chess club. It's pretty straightforward. They just play chess from what I understand, but yeah.
And for Student Senate, we've been working on our Be the Change Week last month, which was October 21st through the 25th. This started and continues to be a Be the Change you want to see in the world, or Be the Change Against Bullying Week. We've also incorporated some more like mental health awareness aspects into it. So we had student shout-outs where students can write little notes to each other about things they appreciate about one another or see positively in one another. We also posted different mental health advice onto our Instagram as well as our daily announcements, and we had a gratitude wall outside of the cafeteria.
And then for Staff Appreciation Week, that's actually going on this week. Basically, we're just thanking our staffs in a bunch of different ways. So we're doing shout-out cards at lunch where you can basically write a little note to any teacher or staff in the building and like thank them for something simple. And then as well, we have our like staff breakfast cart. So we went around yesterday morning with some Caribou coffee and some, I think, Costco pastries and stuff, and just handed them out to any staff that wanted them, and they really liked that one as well. We're gonna write some thank you cards to staff, and then like TikTok with the staff, take some pictures, stuff like that, just ways to thank them.
Prom, unfortunately, we don't get to know any details about because the juniors are in charge of it, but they're working hard to plan it. It's the first Saturday in May, again this year, so May 3rd. They have their location figured out, but it's all under wraps right now. So.
Activities updates. So we had 9 DECA members qualify for ICDC, which is basically an international competition. I believe it's in Orlando this year. They were doing a virtual business challenge, which is basically just a simulation where you run different business scenarios. And yeah, we had 9 members already qualify. And then NHS welcomed their new junior members as well as first-year senior members on October 9th. And then we did our NHS Haunt for Hunger, where a bunch of us went out around the community on Halloween night and asked for any canned or non-perishable good donations for the weekend. And then robotics also kicked off their season at their preseason meeting. And I know they had a great year last year because they went to, I believe, Worlds. So hopefully they'll do good again this year. And then Rotary had their first meeting of the year on October 16th and has been working on Operation Gratitude.
For this week over Veterans Day, we put up the posters that we've had throughout the past couple years of either people who are related to or are alumni of MWHS students or staff. And we put up the same ones every year, and then we add additional ones. So we have quite a few up around our school right now, just recognizing different people who were connected to MWHS and thanking them for their service. So that's been a good thing to be involved with this week.
For Link Crew, MWHS, we have a large Link Crew body, so 113 students. Basically, Link Crew is just helping out the 8th and 9th graders kind of get into the role of a high school student, and it's basically someone you have to talk to as well. The students, you know, they do different events. I believe it's every other Thursday or something like that during our What I Need time or Win time. So you just hang out in the gym and do different activities, and yeah, it's a great way to connect those students with our seniors and juniors.
Next, we have athletics. So these are all of the sports we have going on this year. We do have actually a new sport this year, which is boys volleyball, which Mason's involved with. It's combined with a couple other schools. You guys had it last year, but this year it's through.
Yes, it'll be
Ludwig.
MSHSL, and then we might co-op with some other schools, which we've done in the past years, but we'll see how many numbers we can get.
Yeah.
Significant accomplishments. So football this year, we ended the regular season with a 5-3 record, and then from there we were seeded number 4. So then we went on to play Delano in the quarterfinals. We won 47-0, and then in the section semifinals we played Orono. They were a number 1 seed, and we fell 19-40. So that was our season. I believe Orono's going on to play in the state semifinals this week. So they did pretty good.
Yeah.
And then for volleyball, we finished the season with a 20-8 record. It was a very good season. They beat Academy of Holy Angels in the section quarterfinals and then fell short to Delano in the semifinals.
Yeah. And then soccer, boys went 5-9-1, girls went 3-13-1. Not a great season for soccer, but that's okay. And girls swim and dive, we don't have this quite updated yet, but they had their sections this past weekend, and I believe 8 girls qualified for state coming up. And then for girls tennis, they had an 11-7 season and lost in their first round of sections to Hutchinson. For cross country, we had 2 all-conference girls, which was Sophia Engesser and Hadley Hogue. And then we had 3 all-conference honorable mention girls, which was Anna Reginald, Audrey Kirst, and Brooke Garlock. And then 2 all-conference honorable mention boys, Andrew Finley and Luke Sonneborg. The girls also qualified for the state meet, which they competed in 2 weeks ago. That was really exciting. I think it's been a couple years since the whole team's qualified, so that's exciting.
And then all-state recognition, so Carter Kleinsasser, I believe he was recognized for his defensive position, which is outside linebacker DN. And then for Mia Weaver, she's our volleyball player, and she'll be playing D1 volleyball next year at University of Kansas City, Missouri, I believe. So, yep, they were both all-state recognitions, and I know for volleyball we haven't had one in a while, so that was pretty cool.
Very exciting. And now for the arts. So here we have a couple pieces that were designed by different Hilltop students. We've had a successful year at the Minnesota State Fair competitions, as they have in the past. I know there was over 30 ribbons just from Hilltop alone, so that was very exciting. I picked these out from all 30 of those, and I thought this was really impressive to be made by elementary students, so exciting to see.
Theater in West Tonka, so the Grandview Middle School Theater had rehearsals for the fall musical. They'll be doing the Newsies Junior, which I believe is November 21st to 24th. It'll be showing, so coming up pretty soon. And then West Tonka Community Theater also completed a successful run of the Cinderella, and then they're looking to do, I believe, the Smackdown at the Pageant. That'll be their next one coming up. Last of all, we have the MWHS Theater, who did The Man Who Came to Dinner at the end of October. It was pretty successful, and yeah.
Newsies advertisement, and then next we have this is the cast of The Man Who Came to Dinner.
And then for Mound Arts, I know the band did their mattress sale, which is a good fundraiser for them as well. The pet band was playing at a lot of the home football games, and I think they showed up to one volleyball game this year, but it's always great having them there. As well, our choir, I know we had auditioned and named the members for Mad Jazz, which is our singing group, and then they also have been busy working for caroling in the winter time. And last of all, our MWHS artists have been working well and have gotten a lot of awards. So
Yes, a lot of things coming up for them.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When I was driving by and saw this mattress sale, I thought, that's the most bizarre stuff. Like, do people
know.
just buy mattresses off the street? Or
I
does
guess
this
it works
work?
for them. I know, I'm kind of shocked too
I'm
that
just
people are
curious about
buying.
where they
Also,
get the
I wouldn't think that you'd be
mattresses.
like, oh, knock on someone's door, like, oh, hey, do you need a new mattress? That doesn't seem like it'd
It
be.
just seemed weird, so I was
I know.
wondering
They've
your
done it.
success rate with it.
well, yeah, I don't know. I didn't talk to anyone in band, but
They've done it the
yeah,
past
they've
like
done it, so
7
I'd
years, I'd
assume-
say. So I mean, it's got to be working for them, but it
Yeah.
just seems really, yeah, it does seem a little odd. We're
Well,
both
that's
just like,
good
okay,
to know it works.
works for them, I guess, yeah. Now for our academics. So we had 4 students who were National Merit semifinalists, which was Raul Jordan, Rohan Nella, Jaguatine, and Tor Erdal. And as semifinalists, these students placed in the top 1% of the 1.5 million people who took the PSAT last year. And they're among, for Raul and Rohan, they're among over 16,000 students who qualified for the National Merit Scholarship this year.
And then AP Scholars, a total of 60 Mount Wisconka scholars were awarded this year. So we have our AP Scholars with distinction. Basically, that's the highest recognition you can get. And then AP Scholars with honor. And then last of all, it's just regular AP Scholars. These are all based off of how many tests you have taken and scored above a 3 or 4 on. And then they take the average of your score. And yeah, it's just from all the AP exams we've done in the past 3 years.
And we scored in the top 10 district in the state for the 2024 MCAs and the Minnesota Test of Academic Skills. So it's exciting.
And I believe that is it. Do you guys have
Cool.
any questions on stuff we could answer about the district?
Does council have any questions?
I don't think so.
Doing a great job.
Thank you. Yes, very
Yeah, I
excited
appreciate
to
it.
report it all.
We haven't had you guys out for long time, since the spring, I think, so.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out, and
Yes.
maybe
we're
we'll
just happy
see
to
you
be here.
again in the spring,
Yeah.
see what's going on, so.
Great. Thank
Thanks,
you guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, thank you.
All right, number 7, we got canvas of city election results. I think everybody's got this in front of them. And I'll just make a comment too. I think she's on the way here, but I just want to say congrats, first of all, to Councilmember-elect Castellano.
Thank you.
Congrats. And as well as Councilmember-elect Herrick, who, again, I think she's on the way. She just wanted to say hi. And I don't know if anybody has any questions. I know Kevin's not here, but does anybody have any comments or questions on our resolution today?
You know, I sent everybody a thank you note, but you guys, again, Jesse and Maggie, you did just an awesome job during this crazy election season. It was long and it took a lot of your time, so thank you again, and also to Kevin. Did a great job.
Pass all the credit over to them. Seriously.
Well, I saw you scooting food in and out, so that made a lot of the election judges, me included, happy.
I took an easy job.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you again. It was a big amount of responsibility.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Kevin too. There were 5 elections this year, and so it was a huge amount of just commitment and making sure everything was done according to, you know, the way we needed to do it. And so I know he put like a tremendous amount of work in there, and yeah, it's been a long year. I think we're looking forward to getting back to kind of our day-to-day jobs.
You've had a wild first year.
It's been kind of crazy, but it's fun too, so.
Thank you both.
So the other comment I want to make is that when I went to vote, I went right in, I voted, and I left. 3 seconds, right? So I'm watching the news and I'm seeing in Chicago that they got this, you know,
Line
they're
and
around the
stuff.
blocks and this and that. And I appreciate you backing me on this, but we stuck and we said, we want 4 precincts.
Yes.
Yeah, when they
We
went
did
down
2.
to 3, that was rough.
2.
Oh, we went down to 2?
Yeah.
When?
Or was it,
Several
yeah, it was 2,
years
right?
ago.
In COVID.
Yeah,
2020,
it was bad.
and I waited an hour right outside here.
Oh, yeah. I have a
And so-
video of it, yeah.
So anyway, a couple years after that, we,
Yeah, right.
we said, well, no, we're staying with 4. We're not going on to 3. We're not going on 2.
Thank you for doing that,
Yeah.
because I know the previous group would have been happy with 1
Or none.
or none. Yeah.
Well,
So
so-
I'm glad we're at
Previous
4
group you
still.
talking about?
I don't know.
One thing I wanted to say is I think we ended up having about an 88% turnout. And I believe almost, probably a little less than half was early voting.
I was just gonna ask, that was my only question on this, like, am I understanding that right? It's like, it was almost 50% of people that voted were early?
It was.
How did you guys see it? Was it like,
We
as soon as you
already-
could, or was it like, you know, in the last couple of weeks, it just kinda goes like that, or like, what are people's habits?
I would say the last week was very busy,
Okay.
yeah.
Cause I've heard that
interesting.
too, it's like in the last several years, it's like people just vote absentee more and more early, and,
I think the Monday before, I think we processed maybe 300 in a day. And otherwise it was about 100, 200 during that week. So it was busy.
You kind of knew the count
Yeah.
going into election day that, hey, we've already had,
Yeah.
I know I talked to Kevin a week before and he said it was like 20%.
Yeah, we have a
Right.
tracker.
so it just kept,
It kept-
kept rolling.
Yeah.
It just
The
kept
day I
going.
voted,
That's
there
crazy.
were like 8 other people voting.
You
So-
voted early?
Because Kevin said, are you going to vote today? And I thought, well, I guess I might as well.
You're-
You know, there are
you're
8
there.
other people
Yeah.
there. I usually vote on the day of election. I want to say congratulations to Mound residents, because we really had a high percentage of voters. When you look at the number of registered voters and who voted,
Yeah, that's
we were
true.
well over 80%, which was the state's percentage in the last election. And also the fact that people voted down the ballot. Because, you know, with city council being at the end of the ballot, sometimes you get to city council and only half the people are voting, but it looks like our folks voted all the way down, which is really a good sign of citizenship and taking their right to vote. So I think, congratulations.
All right, well, any other comments or questions? All right, so we got a resolution. I don't know what page it's on, but we have a resolution in our hand, I think. If someone wants to make a motion,
For what?
make a motion for the resolution.
Well, I'll try to read it.
Okay.
I make a resolution to,
Motion, make a
or,
motion.
I'm sorry, I make a motion to canvass return,
You'll make a
Is
motion
this
to,
what-
make a motion to.
I better not read it. I
Okay.
don't have my glasses. I can't.
Anybody else want to take a shot?
Okay, I make a motion.
Yeah,
To.
for a resolution.
For a resolution to canvass returns and declare the results of the municipal election of November 5th, 2024.
All right, got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that passes. All right. That was short. So now we have comments and reports from council members. Councilmember Pugh?
Okay, well, the Gillespie Center had a very wonderful Veterans Day luncheon last Friday. There was probably about 60 to 80 people there. And there were representatives from all 5 sectors of the government, of the military. And I just found out that there's a new 6th military, and it's called the Space Force.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, what are they gonna do with the Pentagon building now? How do they get a hexagon, but anyway. And so there were representatives, and there was one female, she was from the Coast Guard, which I thought was interesting. And the choir, the Gillespie singers sang the theme songs for each of the services. And the people stood up, when their song was being played. It was really quite pleasant and very nice, and good to get to know the stories of people who had served in the military here in Mound. And stuff. And then I think that their staff worked with city staff in submitting a grant proposal for Age Friendly to help them get their website up and going so they can get better marketing and advertisement information out in the community. The other thing is the Parks Commission. In December, at our December meeting, we're inviting the residents who live around Chester Park, which is across from Allen Almas, to come and give us their input as to what they feel we should do with that park. The park equipment is in really bad condition, so we're going to have to replace it. But, the question is, should we replace it as it is now, or should it have a little different theme to it? So we're going to be asking residents to give us their input before we move forward on doing that park. And then I think everyone has been going over and seeing the progress being made in our new Lake Commons Park, Commons on Lost Lake Park, I just got to get the names right here, which is quite delightful. You can walk the little route on the pavement and the promenade now. So I think there's going to be a lot of excitement, and hopefully this winter, I don't know if we're going to be able to do those Christmas lights that we talked about.
Yeah, we are. We're doing-
Okay, so that'd be real exciting
Mhm.
too, and everything. So that's my report.
All right. Councilmember Larson?
I would just like to make a public thank you to the Mound Fire Department for their kindness and their services to our family. And I would also like to talk about, quickly, Betty Wallen. She has been a fixture of our community. She has now passed away at 97. The Wallens were fire department people. She was on the auxiliary, and her claim to fame is that she never missed a fish fry 71 times in a row. So, great woman, great family. That's it.
It'll be hard not to see her face.
I
at
know.
all the
Oh, yeah.
fish fries.
Yeah.
With her little hat. She
Yeah.
always
Oh,
wore a
yeah.
little red hat.
All right, Councilmember McEnany?
I did talk to Betsy, and we will have a table again for anybody that wants to come to the tree lighting. We'll put out the shop local, and I'm also gonna do a selfie sign, kind of like a vintage, season's greetings from Mound or something that we can hold up, so. That's all I've got.
Cool. Councilmember Castellano?
I don't have anything.
Okay. And the only thing I was going to say was the tree lighting thing, just come out in 2 Saturdays?
23rd?
23rd, a week from Saturday.
Week from Saturday. What?
Our meeting this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Forgot that.
yeah, we had our fire department
Oh, yeah,
meeting
forgot.
upstairs over there. Councilmember Larson was there too. Yeah, I mean, it's just proven to be a task. So we'll see. We don't really have a lot to report on per se, but I think what we're gonna try to do is do a workshop to bring it to council to kind of see, here's where we're at. And then if you guys have any suggestions. So I think we're gonna try to coordinate that.
We've got time before the meeting on the 26th as of today, so unless something was going to be added instead of that, we could set that up for 5.
And is it, do you want to just be us, or do we want to bring the chief?
I can certainly invite the chief. I think he'd be happy to attend.
Okay. Right.
So on the 26th.
So let's do 20, so the next council meeting, have 5,
Have a workshop.
have a workshop in
Okay.
the conference room.
Yeah, I'd like to share, as you know, I chair the Age-Friendly State Council, and we're doing a 5-year plan for aging in the state. And last week, we had an action team meeting where we had lots of people from all over the state come in and give input and prioritizing around emergency preparedness. And we had 4 fire chiefs attend the meeting. And it is interesting that this whole discussion that we're having locally is really, it is a statewide issue around fire departments have really changed, and they're much more emergency services responders. And when you think about that, they end up responding with the police department. So one of the things I've been thinking about is to ask our police officers if they could tell us how many times are they showing up with the fire department on calls, so we can see, because there's like a duplication. You can get the fire department, the police, and the ambulance all at your home, and it could be a fall. But it's really becoming quite the issue, and how to cover the costs for that, and the training. And the fire departments are the people trained the best for helping people with the lifts, because even in the nursing homes, the staffs will not lift people anymore. So it's quite an issue, and I'm sure will add to the efforts of this commission that we're participating in.
And those are some of the comments. That's exactly what we've been talking about. Just to expound on that a little bit. Yeah, lift assists are, what is it, 60 to 80%.
Yeah.
So it's always in the middle of the night in someone's bathroom or, whatever, but.
And a lot of them are regular customers.
Oh, yeah,
It sounds like it,
repeats.
yeah.
Yes.
Repeats.
Now, on that, I mean, if it's me in the middle, we want to make sure we get there as fast as we can. How can we, make sure we're taken care of? It's a whole debate about, these companies sometimes are putting that on the local cities,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the assisted living and nursing.
Those types of places. Now,
But there are people in their single-family homes, too, who are
yeah,
falling.
yeah. And like in the single-family home example, this happened actually in our neighborhood. And so we did talk about that at one of the meetings. And I said, well, why, we had everybody show up.
Yeah.
For one person that didn't feel right, And then, they took them away and, whatever. And I'm, again, if any of us are going through, if anybody going through it, we want to make sure we get, the first person there. So really the police are the first typically that can respond. And so that's, the thought is, well, whoever can get there, go get there. And then I think usually the fire is probably next.
Second.
Now, I know they're trained differently, so, if it's a cardiac issue or, a fall, the police don't really want to pick anybody up.
Right,
They want to push that to the
The police
fire.
officer is usually just by themselves.
Right,
So it's one person, and so they're vulnerable in trying to pick up someone, especially if it's a heavy lift.
right.
But they could do the CPR and some of the other things that people may need, but.
And then the other thing too, they're talking about is like, not that a lot of these locations need security or securing, but sometimes that's an issue too. Maybe not for the person that falls in the middle of the night, but maybe for a different situation
Yeah.
where they don't know what they're getting into. And so a lot of times the cops will go first, or they'll just show up first because they're
Yeah.
just the fastest a lot of times. But yeah, it's a whole, that's a lot of what we're talking about right now. And what's the best way to get around all this?
And the question is, the dispatchers who are getting the 911 call, how are they deciphering and coding the call? Because that may be one way to help sort of siphon out who needs to get there first, and stuff. But yeah, fire departments are really, it's interesting, they have a new vulnerability, and it's not about being burnt in a fire, it's about, like you said, not knowing the situation of where they're entering. So they know that there's someone who needs assistance, but you don't know, is it a drug-related thing, or,
Right.
if there's potential danger to the fire people. So it's really changing the whole emergency services response
So if,
agenda.
if we kind of continue on the path of, a partnership with St. Bonnie, right? Part of what we're looking at, again, this is all like very, very high level right now, but we have our own full-time fire chief, right?
Right.
They have a part-time. That probably works full-time. I mean, but he has a full-time other job, right? Do we do 2 full-time chiefs? Do we have one, to split both places? One of our comments today was, if you do just one brand new one, especially if it's coming from one of the other sides, a lot of the guys might quit right away, because you're not telling me what to do. I've been listening to this guy for how many years? So it's a whole thing,
Yeah.
and we, just so you know, we do have the, some of the guys in there with us that are on the fire department. I think we had 4 today. I think usually we have 2. So they're, we really want to make sure that we're, that they're getting an opinion on this too. So again, it's, when you bring 4 cities together, it's a whole thing to try to iron out, 4 different councils, 4 different opinions of different groups, and then what's the best interest for the overall 4, what's the best interest for our towns that we're representing. And we've had some back and forth discussions, and we'll figure it out, I guess. But yeah, the workshop, we want to bring a little bit more context to, to you guys in a workshop setting, and have Greg come to and kind of say, how do we get here in the first place? And then just see the comfort level, because we're kind of trying to get to in the next few months, if we're going to move down that road, we want to maybe do a resolution of support, and if we're not, then it's time to go our separate ways. So
How are the firefighters, how do they feel about this?
So
The changes in front of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chief Peterson has done a good job, I think for years, saying that this is ultimately going to happen down the road anyway. There's some, from what I hear, that are not terribly excited, but I'd say a good chunk are open to changes. Part of it is we're trying not to burn them out. And that's the other problem too, is because we run a paid on call deal, whereas like Bloomington, they just hire them all, right? Well, we can't afford to do that. I mean, we could, I guess, but we don't. But I mean, we got a hell of a deal. I mean, when we do our salary budget line item, it's insane. I mean, they basically working for free. And it's killing the guys, because they got to show up to a certain amount of percent. When I went to that retirement party for the fire department, I mean, what's the average? 50, 60, 70, 80% show calls, right? That these, your son, I think, was one of those high numbers.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how you can do it. I mean, I couldn't do it with my job, right? But
Right.
these guys, they're local, they
And
work
loyal
locally,
to
and they're getting calls for 1 to 3 calls a day.
Sure.
And so they're showing up all the time, right?
And their employers then have the other part of that too.
Right.
The employers are supportive, but, you can't, when you've got someone leaving so much, it
So-
impacts your business.
So there's a statistic that we have, we've come up with, the fire department, that says that they have to hit a certain amount of calls, right, or you're gone. And it's pretty cut and dry, and they don't, it is what it is. Now, we can always change that. We also have, you have to live a certain amount of distance from the station. Again, we can change that, but we also don't want to sacrifice quality of service either. If something happens, we want people showing up fast and getting in the truck and going. But again, those are things that we can maybe work on either way, if we do this or we don't. Those are things that we probably should be talking about anyway. And then the other thing is duty officers. So basically hiring, again, if we hire one chief, one extra chief, or for the same price, you hire two, basically full-time staff persons. If you do a part-time model, they end up going to Bloomington or, you know, anywhere else, because then they'll get a full-time job and he's making a career out of it.
Right.
So, it's a whole thing. It's a lot, and we, you know, we haven't even got to the,
No.
we just started getting to the money part, and not even like the none of that other pensions or anything else. I mean, we're just trying to, so it's, again, the average time period is what, 5 years, from start to finish. Now, when do we start this? I mean, Greg would say 20 years ago, but, you know, so anyway, more to come. Let's do a workshop, and then we'll talk about it more. So that's, I mean, that's all I really had, unless anybody else has anything else.
I wanted to mention to Ryan and the group, the new wreaths look fabulous. We're starting to get put up today. They're all warm light. We're so thrilled. And to the company that puts them up, they do a really nice job, and they're very proud of doing Mound, and they're thrilled that we moved to warm lights, oddly enough.
So am I.
All right, number 9, do you guys have anything you want to add?
No, it was covered. I mean, I would just say the elections were complete chaos, but managed chaos because of Kevin and Maggie and all of our, we have, I don't know, 10 people at each precinct, and we had people actually working City Hall, you know, and I'd say that, once again, talk about a good deal. I mean, it's practically donated time, right?
Right.
So that with that early voting, because we just, I mean, we were swamped, so nice to be on the other side of it.
Okay. And I'm gonna also keep fighting with our council, commissioner, county commissioner. We talked about the elections, right, and that, and I wanted to make sure that, I know some people wanted to go federal and some, or not federal, countywide, right? And some wanted other things, so I'm gonna see if there's any solutions on that side. Like, maybe they can help us pay more people, or, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know it's chaos, and it's like, that's what we're doing now, we're doing early voting, I guess.
And I say that in the best possible way too, because I mean, that's, means people are showing up, right?
Right.
I mean, if nobody showed up, it would be a worse option, I think, so, anyway.
All
And
right.
most election judges, I've been doing it for 30 years, would be happy to do it for volunteer.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's a lot of money for the cities, or
Yeah.
by the time you're done, but most, I think if you talk to most people, they would be completely fine donating their time.
Right.
If that's something we could present or to help cities, I don't know, with this
It's-
early election stuff.
We budget for it every other year. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but I just comparing it to like the paid on call, I mean, this is people that are doing this because they have a passion for it, and then if you can throw them a few dollars, it makes it a little bit better. I mean, people use it for, maybe it's Christmas presents or something after this, it's, you know, but, no, I mean, that's another thing too, is just having that many people that are willing to keep signing up is incredibly important, so hopefully that doesn't change.
Okay, so lastly, right in time, she texted me an hour ago, said she's on the way. I just wanted to introduce our new council member-elect, Herrick. I don't know if you want to say quick something, or you don't have to, but just,
I'm kind of done talking for
Congrats.
the day. I've been
Congrats.
talking all day. But thank you.
Yep.
It's nice to be in front of everyone, and I look forward to serving the citizens of Mound
cool.
and meeting with these
Congratulations.
staff. Thank you.
So just so you know, we'll, actually, the three of us, we're going to have to do the official
Okay.
thing in January. So that'll be January, is it 12th or something?
Oh, it's the 10th, I think.
The second
Okay.
Tuesday
Second.
of,
Tuesday.
so, I mean, technically, you're on January 1.
Okay.
But if there's any emergency, we'll have to swear you in quick, so, or he'll swear you in, so. But yeah, I just wanted to, I invited her to come out earlier, but she got caught
Yeah,
in
but one
traffic.
day I have to go to St. Paul. Well,
Right.
actually tomorrow too, so,
So-
but yeah.
Anyway.
Normally I'm working from home and it wouldn't have been a problem, but
So congrats.
Thank you
Again,
very
it'll be
much.
more official in January. so.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yep.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Unless anybody else has anything else, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, and a second.
Second?
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're adjourned.